Hello and welcome to the audio described tour of the Metro exhibition Out from the Centre. Location, Mimosa House, London. The exhibition takes place on 2 floors of a not so large but open and bright L-shaped space with white walls and fairly high ceilings. The front of the space has a large window, allowing a lot of natural light into the space. What we now know as Metro Charity came into being when a small group of gays and lesbians in southeast London sought to create a space for themselves in 1984. Over the next 40 years, that small group grew, and many more people joined in creating spaces for connection and mobilization across various issues. Out from the Centre, a tribute to 40 years of LGBTQ plus disability and HIV activism, reflects this history. The title, Out from the Centre, emphasises Metro's growth beyond the original centre at Bowater Road and honours the many ways in which people doing related work come together in experimental and non-conforming ways today. Among the materials included in this exhibition are selected ephemera, photographs from Metro's archive, housed at the Bishopsgate Institute, Special Collections and Archives. These reflect Metro's roots as the Greenwich Lesbian and Gay Centre and demonstrate how Metro services have exchanged and expanded over time. We begin our exhibition downstairs, where along with selections from Metro's own archive, there are items from the personal archives of organiser Sue Elsgood, which illustrate significant moments of disability justice activism by Metro GAD, formerly Greenwich Association of Disabled People, and their close collaborators, the Disabled People's Direct Action Network. The exhibition also foregrounds Metro's HIV service provision, addressing the stigmatising past of the organisation's HIV prevention work while commemorating friends, lovers and family members who passed away from AIDS with a panel of the UK AIDS Memorial Quilt. Downstairs. The first work we interact with, right by the large window by the entrance, are the Metro Togetherness plats, designed and created by queer textile artist and facilitator Al Hill. The plats were commissioned by Metro for an installation at Greenwich Docklands International Festival in 2020. Some of them are draped back and forth across the window, and some are gathered into balls in the corner by the window. They used weaving to represent togetherness during the isolation of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdown, and staff and members actually made some individually in their homes, then sent them to the artist to combine into a larger piece. Now we turn around and face into the space. On my right is the exhibition description, and on my left, by a little reception area, is a community notice board, next to which is Pitstop's Nurse Metro, a mannequin wearing a black leather collared nurse's dress, elbow-length black gloves, and the nurse's black cap adorned with the white cross and a red square. The mannequin holds a small black medic box, and red stiletto pumps are positioned by its feet. On the notice board next to the mannequin is a photograph of Metro staff member and later Metro's former CEO, Andrew Evans, wearing a white and light blue version of this same outfit. In the early 2000s, Metro staff and volunteers joined residents of the Royal Borough of Greenwich for Drag Race and would run around the streets as a queen, king or thing to raise awareness and funds for Metro's sexual and reproductive health services. Next, we move back to the right side of the space, where we see 3 framed black and white photographs hanging on the wall. They depict members and volunteers at a Section 28 protest in April of 1988 and also in 1994 at the launch of Metro Line, the Metro phone line. And this little photo is of the original building of the charity, which is actually still there in Woolwich. As you can see in the protest photos, there was all sorts going on. A poster says, "Fight the clause, defend lesbian and gay rights." A couple dance, someone plays the trumpet, and that might even be a trombone in the background. Moving further forward, we get to an archival photo album from the 90s and 2000s, and also a listening station. The album is positioned on a white plinth, and 2 headphones hang on the wall with the descriptions of the audio next to them. The album gives family photo album to me. It's very joyous, communal, very everyday in a lot of ways. People are sitting together, standing together, laughing together, protesting together inside homes, inside the centre, outside in parks, at protests, and other events like Pride and World Mental Health Day. There are also some cool Polaroids of individuals in what looks to be Greenwich Park, describing their wishes for the future, some of which say, "Songs for all," "A huge gay donation to Metro," "Fun, lots of fun." The selected oral histories come from Metro's Our History project from 2019, which archived, recorded, and preserved the charity's LGBTQ plus heritage. In total, 35 oral histories were collected, 9 of which are included here and can be accessed online. We move into the L-shaped section now, passing a lift on our left. Turning round the corner to our left and moving clockwise, we meet our first glass-topped wooden case. And along the top of it, against the wall, are 6 framed documents. The framed documents, likely created on typewriters from what I can see of the font, depict discussions of the new premises, listing out things like spaces they currently have, what's good about the centre already, what are the restrictions and limitations of the centre, and suggestions and ideas for improvements. The charity actually began as Greenwich Lesbian and Gay Rights Group before it became Greenwich Lesbian and Gay Centre in 1986. And it was started by Jill King, Jeff Hardy, and Maggie Honey. Some of the items inside the display case include a press release, a meeting invitation, minutes of a management committee meeting, and comments on the accessibility of the centre from the Greenwich Association of Disabled People, who were consulted to support with making the centre accessible. This shows a relationship between the two groups, well before Metro and GAD merged in 2019. On the right side of the display case, we have the Metro News, which is a bright orange. This was a mix of interviews, comic strips, news, and event listings, which was released every few months. We also have Pit Stop outreach materials, the first community-based HIV STI testing clinic in London, and also outreach materials around HIV and sexual health. At the end of the display case, we have the Big Up series of postcards, which have different parts of the body, a chest covered in a white vest, a tongue out of a mouth, another shiny chest, with words on it like rim and suck. Then in this corner, we have this small red and yellow flyer, which is an example of some of the stigmatizing and problematic ways Metro dealt with HIV in the 90s. Continuing around the space, we move to 5 black and white square photos within white frames. These were a part of a series of AIDS awareness posters co-produced by Metro, Trust, and the London Lesbian and Gay Switchboard. The photographs were based around the theme of love and friendship and were used to promote the launch of their new helpline. The first photo shows an individual white person smirking in a sleeveless vest and a leather cap and leather trousers. The next 3 photos showed couples of different ethnicities posed together intimately. And the last photo shows another person in leather gear, posed in a cheeky manner with their arms crossed. Then we have 3 A4 framed posters, which were used to raise awareness and promote safer sex. Much of the language is quite stigmatizing and difficult to read, but we thought it was important to share these materials to address the harmful cultural narratives that were present during the 80s and 90s. Today, Metro provides a wide range of affirming, person-centered, holistic HIV support for people living with and affected by HIV, including one-to-one peer mentoring, counseling, group work, and peer support. In the first one, a naked, dark-skinned black man with a low high top sits on his heels in front of a dark background, with his head turned towards us smiling. He holds an unraveled condom, and the large cursive text reads, "If you want this, then wear this." In the second one, large blocky blue text against an orange background reads, "What's your favorite excuse for unsafe sex?" 1. I got carried away in the heat of the moment. 2. I was off my head. 3. He seemed like a potential boyfriend. In the third one, a yellow-colored photo of a man with an orange zipper collaged across his mouth is in front of a half-pink, half-blue background with smaller text all over it. Yellow text above his image reads, "I haven't told him I'm HIV positive because I don't want him to reject me." Now we're at the wall at the back of the space, opposite the entrance, and we are standing by panel 34 of the UK AIDS Memorial Quilt. This one has 8 different panels. The quilts were made between 1989 and 1996 to celebrate and remember friends, lovers, and family who passed away. There are 42 in total. Check out aidsquiltuk.org to find out more. This one has 3 columns with panels of varying sizes. At the bottom of the middle column, a panel dedicated to Tom Dwyer, 1959 to 1992. It features lots of little paintings, like a little turtle, an eye, flowers in a vase, the Brixton Station Underground sign, and a smiley face, amongst other things. Above that, black text against a white background reads, "Colin Higgins. Each person is different, never existed before, and never to exist again." And above that, a large red panel says "Love," and a panel above that says "Sean and David." On the bottom of the left column, 2 squares on top of each other have smaller squares of quilting against a green background. Each quilted square has a cat on it, one stripy ginger and one stripy grey one. Underneath the grey one reads the name Michael. On the bottom of the right column, a red velvet panel with a yellow life jacket in the middle of it. The words "Help" in large capital letters. A number 4 and a heart also decorate each side of the life jacket. Continuing round the space, we come to the beginning of Sue Elsgood's personal archives, which includes t-shirts, news clippings, and other ephemera. Sue Elsgood is a current MetroGAD member. An old small black box TV, which takes VHS tapes, sits on a square white plinth with a case of the tape play next to it. The cover of the tape reads, "Piss on Pity," in large block white text, with the disability symbol below it in white. The video depicts news footage of Disabled People's Direct Action Network's protests from the 90s. People are talking to the camera, people are protesting, people are being arrested, people are gathered with placards and posters. Moving along, we first come to 2 t-shirts. The first is a green one with the word "Dan, we will ride!" on it in black text, and a pink lightning-like symbol diagonally across the middle with text that reads, "Disabled People's Direct Action Network." The black t-shirt has a yellowed image of police on horses gathered in front of Big Ben. Red, blocky, capitalized text at the top of the portrait-sized rectangle reads, "I've met the Met." Smaller text in white against the smaller red rectangle at the bottom reads, "Kill the Criminal Justice Bill." Moving along the wall, we come to our second glass-topped wooden case. Along the top of it, against the wall, are 5 framed news articles in the shape of a top left corner. The articles depict various campaigns and protests, with a lot of the images showing disabled people facing off with the police, who are often manhandling protesters. Some of the headlines read, "Wheelchair Demo Over Buses." "Telethon is a modern-day freak show." "People with disabilities demonstrate against poverty, fighting for our place in society." Within the case, we have some more news articles and headlines like, "We want our rights," This is quite an intimidating set of steps. Proper access to tube would change my life. Crawling to make a point. As well as some handwritten notes and letters by Sue Elskerd, one of which is a draft of a cabaret event for the European Day of Disabled People's programme, and the other, a letter which reads, Dear Lisa, hi, how are you doing? Well, I hope. I hear hash is legal now in Germany. I hope I find you on the same planet. I'm fine, just sitting at Euston Station just now, waiting for a friend, Cara, to arrive. We are going to crawl and drag ourselves up the steps of Parliament tomorrow in protest for. Along the display box, we see more biased news headlines and articles like Disabled actors have to fight 10 times as hard to get roles. Disabled make going harder. Chaos hits town twice. On the other side of the display box, moving back towards the front of the space, we see two t-shirts, both black. The first depicts a Star Wars-like intro of space and a small section of the moon visible within a square box. White text reads, to boldly go where all others have gone before. Above the box, pink capitalized text reads, Disability Rights, the Final Frontier. And pink text on the moon reads, Disabled People's Direct Action Network, Rights Now. The second t-shirt reads, Too Sexy for a Charity Poster, in pink party-like font. Finally, a large framed photo of Sue Elskerd herself, in her wheelchair, at a protest, somewhere in between smiling, laughing and protesting at the camera. Greenwich Association of Disabled People has been a groundbreaking organisation for over 40 years. They were the first user-led organisation of disabled people in London, the first to support disabled people to access funding from the local authority to employ their own personal assistants, carers, the first to run a personal assistant agency where service users were managers of the support staff, not clients, and the first to provide counselling by fully qualified disabled counsellors. In addition to providing these services, members of GAD were prominent in disability rights protests in the 1990s, alongside comrades including Disabled People's Direct Action Network. Their organising included the Campaign for Accessible Transport, where activists blocked buses on Oxford Street to protest for accessible public transit, and blocked telethon campaigns, where activists fought against the charity fundraiser Telethon because of its patronising portrayals of disabled people. GAD merged with Metro Charity in 2019, becoming Metro GAD. And that's it for downstairs. See you upstairs. In this section of the exhibition, we encounter original artworks and a screening room showing films from the 80s to today, including Framed Youth, Revenge of the Teenage Perverts, courtesy of London Community Video Archive, one documentary made by the London Lesbian and Gay Youth Video Project in 1983, and episodes of Well Proud, a Metro docu-series directed by Yergo Glinatsis and Charlene Frost in 2023, exploring mental health and well-being among LGBTQ+ Black and global majority members of the community in Lewisham. Some of the other works on this floor were co-created during a series of community workshops as part of the Out from the Centre project, and some materials have also been loaned from local artists and organisations in London, many of which are about disability justice and queer and trans liberation. As we exit the lift, the first thing we meet, which you may not notice immediately, is a row of condoms lining the doorway of the lift, vertically. They have various scribbles and doodles on them made by Metro staff and attendees of a mix and mingle event hosted by A Whole Orange Matchmaking as part of the Out from the Centre project. Some illustrations include a smiley face with stars and a tongue sticking out, some hearts, a face saying sex is fun, words that say please me baby, slippery sex is good sex, yay lubey condoms. Then we move along to Queer Circle's Transifesto, a large piece of paper with various colourful illustrations in neon pink, blue and green. In 2024, youth worker and researcher Lou Wilson interviewed young people, including members of Metro Youth, to try and understand what kind of support they need the most. The conversation was illustrated in real time by Sarah Smith. The top of the very large piece of paper reads, Transifesto! In a mix of the colours and illustrative funky fonts. The top right corner reads, a social mixer for LGBTQ plus young people. Some of the other illustrative bits include young people gathered around someone in a wheelchair, an open door which reads, Stop Gatekeeping, some pizza slices and cans of soft drinks, and some of the words read, We are powerful. Joy, rage, boredom. Support is not binary. We are not vulnerable but need spaces of care. And dealing with conflict. Next, we move along to the Metro Queer Youth Quilt, a large-scale Progress Pride flag which reflects young people's thoughts and anxieties and feelings around Pride. It was commissioned by Metro in 2020-2021 from queer textile artist and facilitator Al Hill, using online workshops during COVID-19 lockdowns. Each square was handmade by a staff member, volunteer, or service user. Some of the squares are various vintage flower patterned pieces. Some have words like love against a pink gingham background, refuse what they sell ya against a green background, queer youth on yellow felt against a sparkly red background. Carrying on along the left side of the room, a somewhat crushed disco ball hangs above us. It was made by Staying Out members Lettuce Drake and Katie Price, and was originally used as a piece of set design for the music video 7 Years Below the Flowers by an artist called Lukey. The single was launched at Metro Charities Lambeth Space in April 2024. Next, we have the Outside Project Trans Power banner, a very large black mesh netting type fabric with the words Trans Power stuck on it using 2 shades of wide pink electrical tape. The Outside Project is an LGBTIQ plus centre, domestic abuse refuge, and trans night shelter in London. Coming to the back wall of this space, we have an array of protest placards from Anna Dubrowska and the Museum of Transology. Anna is a London-based visual artist whose style is often recognisable through their use of stencils, paints, and bold colours. The Museum of Transology now holds over 1,000 placards. Some of these placards and posters read, None of us are free until all of us are free. No human is illegal. High heels to fascism. Dykes against fascism. We deserve to grow old. Dyke is not a derogatory word. Now we move round the room again to the Queer Art Youth Collective quilt, made in 2023. It is another large quilt hanging on the wall, hemmed with rectangles of red, dark blue, and a gold-like tan colour. Squares of various designs and sizes make up this quilt. At the centre, one colourful square reads, To all the quilts that came before in yellow, on top of embroidered shapes and coloured shapes. Next to that, another square reads, Trans kids deserve to become trans adults, in blue writing surrounded by felt flowers. The quilt also has some lovely tactile squares, including pillows and a duvet against a light purple background. One square reads, Unspiral me. Above that, a spiral of grey felt, which can be unravelled, then put back, is against a light pink background. Another fun pink square reads, Cis guys tell me it will be hard being a short man, but babe, I've got near cock and still get laid. The collective runs workshops for LGBTQ plus young people, aged 18 to 28, and was reflecting on the AIDS Quilt project as seen downstairs. The quilt contains 35 submissions by 29 artists. To the right of the quilt, on the right side of the room, we have the Badge Cafe jacket, a blue denim jacket hanging on the wall, mostly covered by somewhat large badges of various designs. In April 2025, Metro collaborated with Badge Cafe at Rich Mix for a month of badge making using archival materials from Metro's history. The jacket replicates a denim jacket of badges worn by SNAP members, currently on display at Bromley Central Library as part of Bromley Historical Archive's first LGBTQ plus focused exhibition. Some of the badges read, "Out of my mind, back in 5 minutes. I want you unwaged single lesbians. I believe in liberation, interdependence, and community." And "Young Lesbian Strikes Back." To the right of the Badge Cafe jacket, we have two large pale yellow shrouds or pieces of fabric, which are part of a series called DWP Deaths Make Me Sick by Vince Laws of Disabled People Against Cuts, protesting the deaths of disabled people dealing with the DWP. The first piece reads, "Stephen Hill, awaiting major heart op, found fit for work. Month later, heart attack. He died. How many more? Justice, not charity." The words have been spray painted in a stencil style where you spray around the letters or words, then remove the stencil to reveal where the paint hasn't touched the fabric. The same style has been used to depict chains and skulls in black and red. The second piece reads, "Kevin Dooley, suffered chronic pulmonary disease. Too ill to work, said doctor. Fit for work, said DWP. Benefits stopped. Suicide. Respect, not charity. DWP deaths make me sick." The words are similarly surrounded by chains and skulls. The final pieces in this space are a mermaid puppet and the mental health and well-being bus. Against the wall opposite the placards and on the other side of the lift to the condoms, a large red cardboard bus is attached to the wall. The windows are made up of messages about mental health and well-being on various fabrics. On World Mental Health Day, 1998, Metro staff, volunteers and service users drove a double-decker bus through central London to protest barriers to mental health and to raise awareness of LGBTQ plus experiences. A workshop was held in honor of this day, and that's where the messages were created, which artist Louis Danielski then included in his bus design. Some of the windows read, "Self-care is an act of resistance." Would you tell someone with a broken arm to get over it? Hope will never be silent. And 40 years supporting through the storm. Above the bus, on the right, three small pictures in white frames show people on the bus that day. A selfie-style image of a packed open-top double-decker bus and pictures of the bus from the street. And to the left of the pictures, a mermaid puppet made during a collaborative workshop with the Albanese youth group Come As You Are, facilitated by artist Mia Loban as part of the Out From The Centre project. It's a black mermaid with a pink tail and a trans symbol just at the top of the tail. Now we go up a few stairs near the lift towards the screening room. On our way to the screening room, we have two large pieces. On the left, a recreated community notice board, and on the right, a compilation of Metro comics by artist and illustrator R.L. House for Metro News Comics. The notice board reflects the original one that once hung on the wall of the Greenwich Lesbian and Gay Centre in the 1980s. It is covered with printed materials of various colours, including event flyers, posters, and details of services. The posters all have a very DIY, hand-drawn feel to them. Some of the materials include one that reads, Gay Men's Party, with a cutout of a topless man pasted below it, and a little Santa Claus in the top left corner. Another flyer reads, Greenwich Lesbian and Gay Centre presents Grand Tea Dance in the middle of some yellow paper. It is framed by an ornately designed and drawn box, and the entire paper is framed by tall illustrated palm trees. Another smaller green piece of paper advertises for an Afro-Caribbean or Asian gay male development worker to join the existing team of 2 lesbians and 1 gay man. The job involves developing a local centre and work within the wider community. On the opposite wall, the compilation of Metro comics explored issues and experiences of LGBTQ+ people, including pinkwashing, drug use, and fat phobia. Some of the titles of the strips include Buys, Dykes and Fags. That one's about no one else being able to badmouth our communities except us. Stuff to Watch Out For at Pride 97. That one's about possibly running into old school friends, exes, or your boss at Pride, or seeing bare breasts everywhere. Another one's called Opinion Poll, about the irrelevance of Morrissey's sexuality to a lot of LGBTQ+ people. And finally, we have the screening room, which, as mentioned before, is showing films from the 80s to today, including Framed Youth, Revenge of the Teenage Perverts, one documentary made by the London Lesbian and Gay Youth Video Project in 1983, and episodes of Well Proud, a Metro docuseries directed by Yorgo Glinatsis and Charlene Frost in 2023. The 2 episodes of Well Proud are about Marley, a black queer non-binary illustrator who runs Marblehead Studio, and Rasal, a trans man of Jamaican Irish heritage who grew up in Lewisham in the 1960s, when the far right were prominent in the borough, and came out as trans in his 50s. Many of these films are available on Metro's YouTube. And that's it. Thanks very much for listening.